Happy Friday, North Texas! I'm Scott, and today is Friday, February 20th. I've got a great interview with women's basketball senior forward Megan Nestor for y'all today. But first, we've got some news to know for our UNT community. This just in across the news desk. Registration is now open for the Innovation with Integrity AI panel discussion being simulcast across the UNT system on March 3rd. Panelists from system institutions will discuss ethics, impact, and responsibility, leveraging AI for positive change without compromising value. Check the show notes for links to register by February 24th to attend in person at Union 339 or to attend online. The first 35 in-person attendees to arrive that day will receive a free lunch. Wedding season is just around the corner. If you'll soon be planning a wedding or know someone who is, the Union is hosting its inaugural wedding showcase for the public from 1 to 4 p.m. on March 1st in the Emerald Ballroom, room 314. Stop by to learn more about the Union reception layouts, sample the catering, learn about the prices, and meet with multiple North Texas area vendors on site. Check the link in the show notes to RSVP in advance to receive an extra door prize ticket. College of Information alumni can join the Alumni Association for Wind Down Wednesday on March 18th at Union Bear in Denton. Wind Down Wednesdays are a chance to bring together the UNT alumni community from across DFW to relax and reconnect. The event is free, but do please visit the link in the show notes to register ahead of time. This is a special one to me since all 4 of my sisters are also UNT alums. Sibling Day is coming up on Saturday, February 28th. Sibling Day is an exciting tradition at UNT where current students can bring a sibling to campus to show off their North Texas home. Whether your sibling is in elementary school or attending another university, there is something for everyone at Sibling Day. The schedule includes open recreation at the Pole Rec Center, a meal ticket to the dining hall, free passes to the Sky Theater, and a ticket for siblings to the UNT women's basketball game against South Florida. Check the show notes for more information about Sibling Day. And now for some athletics news, let's check in with Zach Babb for the Mean Green Minute.
Men's basketball saw their 3-game win streak come to an end on Thursday in a 77-71 loss to Tulane at home. That came despite a pair of 20-point games from David Terrell Jr. and Ja'Shawn Stevenson. They finished with 21 and 20 points, respectively. The Mean Green's next game is Sunday at 3 p.m. when they face Florida Atlantic at the Super Pit. Women's basketball found their way into the win column via a blowout this past Tuesday, an 84-54 win over UAB. Megan Nestor had yet another double-double, picking up 16 points and 14 rebounds. Those 14 rebounds also broke the program record for rebounds in a single season for Megan Nestor with 365 total. That record had stood since 1978.
Thanks for that update, Zach. I'll be taking the family to the men's game at the Super Pit on Sunday, and my daughter is very excited for the halftime baby race. That was a big hit last year, so hopefully this weekend's race will be just as entertaining. Speaking of basketball, I recently sat down with women's basketball senior forward Megan Nestor, and she has a fascinating story. We talked about her journey from St. Lucia to Denton, how she learned to play basketball for the first time as a college freshman at Wayland Baptist University, and all the ways she wants to give back to her home country. So I want to start with, can you tell me about your journey going from playing netball in St. Lucia to basketball at Wayland Baptist and now to UNT?
Yes, sir. So in 2022, I got a call. I was back home on vacation, and earlier in the year, I went to represent my country in Dominica at a senior tournament, and then when I came back, I went back home again that same year in August, and I got a call that I'm getting a full scholarship to go play basketball. But let me go back to my netball days. So I grew up playing netball, and I started representing my country at 11, and then I represented my country every year after that, on the under 16 level, under 23, and senior level, as well as Wynwood Island school games. I did really good in netball, got a bunch of accolades. The same way I'm getting a lot of accolades now for basketball. That's basically how it was for netball for me. But yeah, so then I got the call that I was getting a full scholarship to go play basketball. And at the time, I went to nursing school in 2021, and I didn't finish. I failed one of my classes, and then they gave me like a 3 month break. And then around that time, I had picked up another job, so I was working 2 jobs. So I was like, I don't really need to go back to school. So when I did get that call, I just looked at it as God giving me another opportunity to finish school. So I was like, at the time, I didn't really take it for the basketball part because I'm new to basketball. I don't know nothing about basketball.
Yeah.
I took the opportunity to finish school because I was like, maybe that's God giving me a sign. Like, I want you to finish school. So I really grabbed the opportunity for the schooling part because of the full scholarship. But at the time, I thought, the full scholarship was for the whole 4 years. I didn't know it renewed every year. I didn't know it renewed every year. But thankfully, my coach, Jason Cooper, he, even after my sophomore year, when I didn't play my freshman year at all, he had no clue, like, what I was going to become my sophomore year. He still gave me a full scholarship my sophomore year. And then my freshman year, I had to learn the sport, learn everything, like, just learn the basics. I had to fix my shot. Because, netball, in netball, we don't have plays. We don't have a backboard. You can't run with the ball. It's, a lot of rules, and it's more of a contact sport. Basketball is more of a contact sport than netball. But when I did play my freshman year, I played like 2 minutes and I would get like 2 rebounds. Or I played 3 minutes, I would get like 3 rebounds. And then there was one game where I had 8 points, and I was so happy because I was like, 8 points is a lot because I didn't really play much. Sometimes my coach used to put me in for like a few seconds just to be on the ball. And my freshman year, I never complained because I knew my role because I'm just learning the sport, and I can't expect to play 30 minutes when I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then my sophomore year came, and I just had a blow-up season after Thanksgiving break. I had 2 double-doubles in that tournament, and then from there on is where, in the beginning of the season, I struggled, obviously, because I had a bigger role my sophomore year. And then after that, Thanksgiving break, where I kind of took off, I just took off from there. And then I had 6 or 7 2020 games my sophomore year. And I broke 3 records in 1 year, my sophomore year. And then I also got my jersey hang up in the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame in Tennessee, as well as getting All-American, NAIA third team All-American, and a bunch of like conference awards, first team all conference, defensive player of the year. And then my junior year, I thought it was going to be harder because now everybody know about me. But to my surprise, it really didn't mean nothing because I took off like right where I let off. Basically, right where I left off in my sophomore year, I took off then my junior year, and I averaged 21, 13 rebounds. I broke my own record at Wayland, and I got to 1,000 points, career points, basically in 2 seasons, because I only had like 13 points my freshman year. So you can say 2 seasons. I got to 1,000 points, and I got first team All-American, player of the year in my conference, first team all-conference all-defensive team. I got NCCAA awards. I got a ton of player of the week, just a bunch of accolades and stuff. And then after I realized how good I was like, maybe I should consider becoming a pro. I was like, if I'm getting good at this, like within such a short time, because that's like basically 2 years, and I'm doing all this in such a short period of time, might as well think about, taking it to the next level. So I was like, because in NAIA there's not much coverage. There's no coverage in NAIA. If somebody has like 6 2020 games at the D1 level, you're gonna hear about it. But it's and they don't really. It's not no coverage. So I was like, if I want to be seen, like if I want my talent to be seen, like if I want to get recognition for like all the good stuff that I'm doing, and my story is very unique, I was like, I'm gonna have to leave like Wayland, as much as I loved it over there. And I'm like, sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone. So I was like, I'm comfortable at Wayland, but I want more for myself. I want to be a pro. I want to go to the WNBA. Well, I will go to the WNBA. So I was like, I have to leave. And then I prayed to God. I was like, Lord, if I'm making the right decision, please give me a sign. And I spoke to my assistant coach about it because it was really hard for me to speak to my head coach about it. And me and my assistant coach, we had a good relationship. And she was like, if you're speaking about it, then you should do it. And she was like, she told Coach Cooper that she wanted to be a pro, so she has to leave. And then after I prayed, I was like, Lord, if I'm making the right decision, please give me a sign. The next day, my coach called me. He told me that he's leaving. I was like, wow. I asked God for a sign, and he gave it to me the next day. And then when my coach called me, he was like, yeah, he already made the decision that even if he came back, that he was going to try to get me to go to the D1 level and stuff. And from there, he started making calls, trying to help me get to another school and stuff. But when the word got out that he was leaving, I just got a ton of calls from a bunch of schools wanting to recruit me. So then my assistant coach at Wayland, Coach Jennings, who was here, coached her at Eastern New Mexico. So she knew Coach Jennings. So they had that connection. And then I came on my visit, and well, to my surprise, Coach Jennings wanted to recruit me in my sophomore year, but my assistant coach told him that I needed more development, which I really did, more development. So I came on my visit here at UNT, and I loved it. I loved the culture, the coaches, and then we were at lunch, but I mentioned me doing a charity drive, which is something that I've been wanting to do back home. And then Dr. Foster was like, yeah, we can do this. And that immediately sold me because I realized it's more than just basketball here. So, yeah, that's my journey to UNT. And now I'm here at UNT, and I did have some doubt at first because I'm coming from the NAIA level. I know my capabilities, but it would be kind of hard to do what I'm doing now. But to my surprise, I'm making it look easy. So, yeah, that's my journey here.
Yeah. That's such a great story. Lots of transitions you've had to make in your life. So I want to kind of break those down a little bit piece by piece. Tell me about the transition from playing netball to basketball. Not a lot of people, I mean, I'll speak for myself. I wasn't very familiar with netball. I had to give it a quick Google, but can you tell me about some of the similarities and some of the differences there?
So in netball, there's no backboard. The ball is smaller. You can't dribble. And also, you can't be like all up in the person's space. You have to give free feet. Also, in netball, you have to catch and stop. And there's like transverse lines. So certain positions kind of go past that transverse line. And center, which it would be like a point guard in basketball, the center in netball, they can go past the transverse lines, but they can't go into what we call the D, the shooting D, where it's only the shooters. So each team has two shooters and two defenders. Because not everybody can shoot the ball. It's like only the shooters can shoot the ball in netball. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the differences. And I think basketball is more of a contact sport than netball is.
Yeah. Well, what was the most difficult part, do you think, of making that transition and learning the game of basketball?
For me, I would say the most difficult part would be just like learning the plays and like the defenses and like knowing what to do, like screening and all the basketball terms and stuff. I had to learn all the basketball terms and stuff, and like basically dribbling. For me, dribbling was really hard, and I just started getting better at it my junior year, because my sophomore year it was just catch and finish, but my junior year I was dribbling a little bit, and then now I can do a little more dribbling. But the dribbling part was kind of hard for me, and also just like not traveling a lot, because sometimes I tend to travel, which it's not I don't want to travel, but sometimes I forget I'm playing basketball and I'm not playing netball. And even sometimes during basketball, I make some netball moves because it's like that's just what's instilled in me. But I would definitely say the basketball terms, learning the plays, learning like my position and like other positions, knowing what to do, like when we're pressing or in the defense, knowing like I have to be in a drop or all the basketball terms and stuff was difficult for me.
Yeah.
But apart from, I'm a really quick learner, so like
clearly.
I just have to be time and I'll get it. So I was able to like pick up really fast because I learned really fast.
Yeah. And then next transition, I want to talk about going from St. Lucia to Wayland Baptist out there in Plainview. What was that transition like, just in terms of like, was there culture shock? What was it like making that move?
Yeah, so I migrated in 2019 to the United States. So in
Okay.
2019, I moved to the United States. I lived in Connecticut, and
Okay.
then yeah. So, but the transition from St. Lucia to the United States, it was a culture shock for me at first, because people only tell you like the great things about the United States, and they don't tell you like how hard it is. They make it seem like it's all cookies and cream when it's really not all cookies and cream. But as like the weather changed, because Connecticut was pretty cold.
Yeah.
But and then we don't have. I'm used to going to the beach, not much beaches. I'm used to eating like ground food, like green bananas, breadfruit, plantains, and stuff like that. And these things are kind of harder to get here. And the food part is like really different.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the culture itself is definitely two different things.
Yeah.
But I was able to adapt really good, because I'm usually able to adapt to my environment pretty quickly and well. So I was able to adapt. But when I moved to Texas, it was kind of a different. It was like, oh, it's kind of drier over here. The weather is really bipolar. Like, it'll be sunny one today, tomorrow it's cold. I'm like, oh yeah. But moving to Texas, I've picked up like yes ma'am and no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. I wasn't saying that before I got to Texas. Like, so I definitely picked up on that, and that's something like it's been stuck with me. Like, that's how I address everybody: yes sir, no sir. So I would say that's a really good thing that I got from moving out here.
Yeah. And then last transition I want to ask you about, going from Wayland Baptist to UNT. And what was the biggest change for you in terms of, I don't know, whether it's the competition, whether it's the facilities, whether it's the academic change, classes you're taking, the professors you're working with? What has that change been like for you?
Yeah, so at Wayland, I had like good relationships with my professors, because it's a smaller school, so that's different here. Also, the competition, the Division I is a higher competition, so I think like for me, the preseason, that's what I had to get used to, was the competition. But I've adjusted pretty well now. Definitely the facilities, better facilities. We have a great trainer. We didn't, like at my old school, we had one trainer for like 3 sports or something like that. It wasn't really able to get the treatment that you needed. Definitely the facilities in a bigger arena here, and just different city. It's more to do here. Plainview, Texas is pretty small. It's not much to do in Plainview.
Yeah.
But here, close to Dallas and stuff. So yeah.
And then I want to, you talked about your adaptability and being able to make adjustments. You mentioned being so excited in that game early in your college career where you got 8 points. And then I see that you had a game where you got 30 points and 30 rebounds in one game, and you're only the 3rd player in Division I history to have ever done that. What was that like for you?
Yeah, looking back, sometimes I forget where I come from, because I have like such high expectations of myself. Yeah. And in that moment, my freshman year, when I had 8 points, I felt so good. I'm like, 8 points, a lot. And then to just come here at UNT and have that monster game, like 30, I think it was 34 points, 30 rebounds. It was so crazy, because I was like, I was not expecting to do that. Yeah. And it happened. And being the only 1st person in D1 history to do that, like, meant a lot to me. It just showed me like my hard work really pays off. And like, I was all over social media. Candace Parker, she's a WNBA legend, and she spoke about me. And having to be able to do that here, even when I had doubts that I wasn't going to be able to do the stuff that I did at my old school here, and just having the coaches push me to be better every day, and my teammates, that really, really meant a lot to me. And I'm I'm hoping to have another one of those games before the season ends, but we'll see.
Yeah. And then something else I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned having the lunch when you were being recruited and talking about your charity drive. I brought my kids to a game last week and saw your message on the video board about that. Tell me about what that is and why that was important to you to do that charity drive for St. Lucia.
Yes, sir. So when I left high school, I was telling one of my teachers, I was like, I want to do a charity drive. And it's just something that I've been wanting to do, because I come from a small community where I live in a small fishing village in St. Lucia, where it's pretty hard. St. Lucia is a third world country, and, there's a lot of people who don't have jobs, and a lot of people who it's really difficult for them. And you have the elderly sometimes who have no one to really take care of them or like help them out. So I just wanted to do something where I can give back to my community because I know how it was growing up, and the stuff I've seen, and I just want to be able to at least do a good deed for my community and help those in need. That's always I'm a natural giver, so that's always been something that's been instilled in me is like giving back. Mm-hmm. So that's something I've been wanting to do, and I'm looking forward to doing it. And it's just about like just giving back, like toiletries, groceries, and I have like a bunch of like stationery items already. I have like a bunch of books and pencils, erasers, and stuff like that. And I have a few school bags. I'll be like, if I can get more school bags and groceries and toiletries, like I said. I also want to do, part of my charity drive is a basketball camp where I introduce basketball to the kids of my community and maybe a few more other communities in St. Lucia. Because basketball is not a really known sport in St. Lucia. It's more like soccer, netball, track and field. And, I just want to introduce the kids to basketball because I wasn't introduced to it and I'm doing pretty good. So, imagine if kids can get introduced to it like at a young age, and maybe that's something they grew up wanting to do, they can possibly get the same opportunity that I got. So that's part of it is just giving back to my community because I've seen like what people have been going through and stuff and like just struggling. So, I just want to like help out and like do something good for my community.
Yeah. So for this charity drive, how can people contribute to it? Do they donate things? Do they bring them up to campus? Is there a website? How can people support this? Yeah, so the way we had set it up was drop them off at the gate on game days. At the gate at games. Okay, good to know. And then I wanted to talk to you, you talked about getting this opportunity to play basketball and seeing it as a sign from God to continue your education. I wanted to talk to you about what you're majoring in and what you're studying and what you hope to do after college with your degree. Yes, sir. I already got my degree at Wayland. I got my degree in 3 years. I got a bachelor's in applied science, specialized in management and health administration. So I do have my bachelor's already, but I am doing a second bachelor's here in rehabilitation services. Okay. I'm hoping to graduate this summer with my second bachelor's. But if, basketball is going to work out. I know it is. So but after basketball, I want to become a nurse. So that's what I'm going to do. And because right now, I'm trying not to think about it because I'm like, I don't want to disobey God because I know like basketball is my calling. So after basketball, I want to be a nurse and hopefully open a nursing home back home where I can, help serve those who don't have anybody to take care of them. So that's the plan after basketball because I know basketball will work out for me. After a very long WNBA career, you go into nursing. Yes, absolutely. All right, those are all my questions. Is there anything we didn't cover or anything else you'd like to talk about? I think pretty much covered it all. I'm just really grateful that I chose North Texas. And I'm really grateful for, like, the coaches that I'm surrounded by and my teammates. And they're, like, pushing me to be better every day. And I've broken 3 records already. So, and I'm looking to break a few more. So that would just really be something big, just coming to the D1 level and not having some doubt that I wouldn't be able to do the same thing that I did at my old school and be this great rebounder at the D1 level. But I just proved myself and proved to everybody that it doesn't matter like where you come from, like you can do whatever you put your mind to. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this, Megan. Can we, before we go, can you go Mean Green? Go Mean Green. It was so great to get to know Megan and hear her incredible story. Alumni can read more about her in the spring issue of the North Texan hitting mailboxes next month. And if you'd like to contribute to Megan's donation drive for St. Lucia, the women's team has 2 more home games coming up on Tuesday, February 24th against UTSA, and Saturday, February 28th against South Florida. Remember, she's collecting non-perishable items like school supplies and toiletries, and donation boxes will be at gates A, D, and F on game days. Do you have ideas for future podcast episodes? Get in touch. Let us know what you think about the show by emailing podcast@unt.edu or calling 940-565-4341. And don't forget to help us grow by telling a friend about the show, sharing it on social media, or leaving us a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen. Until next week, we hope you have a happy Friday, North Texas, and go Mean Green. Happy Friday, North Texas is a production of the University of North Texas. Today's show was produced and edited by Scott Brown with original reporting by Scott Brown. For more information, visit unt.edu/podcast.